preface. I'm about to start recording. Here we go. So the bottom line of yesterday was your body is sacred, and God doesn't merely order you to fulfill your mission, but that's today's one. But God's going to give the person the strength to fulfill his mission. Yes. So God, Hashem, always gives us the tools before we need them. So if a person is in a position where he's thinking that he wants to end it all, God forbid, and that's just, we're taking that to the very, very end of, let's say, depression or anxiety, what it can cause a person's mind to go to, he should always bear in mind, that's not to say if you're ill, Rambam says it's got nothing to do, like there's no sin incurred if you're completely ill and you can't help yourself, you can't help your thoughts. But when a person is still rational, he should always bear in mind, and if he does, he won't get to that point, that every single challenge that comes our way, we already have the courage to deal with. It's already there. God has already given us the tools to deal with it. And the faith and the emunah that we have in all situations is that no matter how scary and difficult a situation is, we do have the strength for it. We just need to connect with God and ask him for that thing, and ask him to connect us with our true self, so that we know how to handle that situation with his help. Okay, so that was just like a little bit of a recap and a preface to what's coming. So we talked about a messenger who was sent to guard a very precious property from his owner, and he derelicted his duty and he left because he thought, well, the owner's not showing up, it's not happening. He waited for hours, and the owner had told him strictly, please do not leave your place, I really need you to guard this treasure. And he was sitting there and standing there guarding it, and the owner didn't come back, and he gave up. And the analogy is very true, because in life we often think, we've put out our prayers and we've done all we can and no one's showing up to help us here. And so we abandon our faith in God, and we abandon our bodies, and we start to self-harm, and we don't take care of ourselves, and we neglect the things that we've been asked to do by God, because our body is incredible. It's a miracle of technology. It's a miracle of science. It's a miracle of how do we move our hands? How do we move our lips? How do we raise a cup? We don't know how we do these things, but they are intuitive and preconditioned into our body, all the wisdom that we need to live. And our body is a gift from Hashem. And so as much as we're told to look after our soul, we're also commanded to look after our body. And the difference between the possession and the body is that possessions are fully our ownership. We own the possessions, although ultimately they belong to God, but we are in control, and we have legal right to sell them, to buy them. If I want to break my dish, I can break it. But the body is something different. The body really is something that we are charged with taking care of to the ultimate capacity, because it's the house for our neshama, and we've been given a body with so many beautiful functions, and we have been charged for its care. And so a person who ultimately kills himself is forsaking the service of God, rebelling against him by placing himself in danger of death. Again, it doesn't apply to someone with mental condition or a psychiatric or depression. It does not apply to any of those people. The Rambam is very clear, and so is the Radbaz on that, that he may, if he's suicidal and he's lost his senses, or he's in a very bad place, that's very different. And we know now that there is very, very different ways of looking at things than it was in the past. It's not considered a crime. It's not considered a sin. It's considered a place where a person has wandered away so far from his true thinking, from his higher essence thinking, that he is able to contemplate such a thing. The reasoning behind this chapter, as far as I can see in Shar HaBitachon, is to encourage us to think along the lines of, number one, our body is not ours to mess with. We shouldn't be harming ourselves. And number two, that we should always have confidence that we shouldn't think the master is not coming back for the treasure. The master is always there. He was there all the time. He's just waiting to see what we do in that situation, because we have the strength, the tools, and the courage to deal with whatever it is that we're placed with. Somewhere they are there, and that's what we're told, and that's what we know. So let's continue, and hopefully we get to a more cheerful topic. Okay, Baal Keina Tamut de Shmuel Alav Hashalam Omer Echelech V'Shama Shaul B'Haragenu. That's what we see in the chapter on Shmuel Hanavi, he said, how would I go there? Because if I go there, Shaul will hear about it and he will kill me. So clearly he's saying it's not really so much about suicide, it's about putting yourself in a place which is virtually like you don't put yourself in a position of danger. Don't go running across the road when there's cars coming, right? You just don't do that because not only you're being stupid, but you're also derelicting your duty to look after yourself. After King Shaul failed to follow the directives of Shmuel Hanavi, God instructed Shmuel to go to the house of Yishai and anoint one of his children, David, as king. But Shmuel was very reluctant to go. He was afraid that if Shaul found out, I don't know if you know much about the King Shaul, but he himself suffered from it looked like he suffered from kind of bipolar or some kind of psychotic disorder where he had hallucinations about David and thought he was trying to replace him. And he was on a death mission. So he thought Shaul might kill him. And that was a very logical train of thought. So although Shmuel was explicitly instructed by God to appoint a new king, he was concerned regarding the threat. And that wasn't considered a lack of bitachon. It was considered a very rational argument. It's not considered a lack of trust. It's not considered a lack of trust in God. Rather, God's response to him implied that his caution was very praiseworthy. That he was careful with he was careful and cautious about the gift that God had given him. And he said to him, so Hashem said, look, here's a good way around it. Take a calf of cattle and say to him, I've come to offer sacrifices to the Lord. So Hashem gave him like a download of intuition. This is how you should do it so that you won't be in danger. And then the story follows on from there. If that had been any lack in his bitachon, then the answer of Hashem to him would have been, I'm the one in charge of death and life. I'm the one who made weak and I will also heal it. Or something similar like that. When Moshe made excuses to Hashem and said, oh, I don't know if I want to lead these people. It's not such a good idea. I've got, heavy tongue. It doesn't work properly. And, I'm not good at speaking. I can't do that. And then Hashem says back to him quite assertively and maybe angrily, who do you think gave you this tongue? Who do you think makes blind or deaf or piker, or seeing or blind? Or either I'm the one who did that, But when it comes to life and death, Hashem does not say, I'm the one who gives life and death, because Hashem gave us autonomy over our bodies, and we are being entrusted, like he puts us at the wheel of this Ferrari, as if to say, I trust you. I trust you implicitly. You're the one who is able to technically take care of your body. Only you, no one else. I sit back and I let you drive. But you should know that you're responsible. And if you speed, you'll get a speeding ticket. And if you crash, that's on you, right? So God did not respond to Samuel's concern by saying the concern was baseless, and Shmuel should trust that God would take care of him, since everything is in his hand. Instead, God gave him advice on how to go about it in a manner that would not involve danger. Okay, I'm just going to stop there to see if anyone has anything to say. And I actually think that since this is quite a heavy topic and quite a deep topic, that for me, I would probably just stop there and we can continue tomorrow. But I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, no, it's less of a question, but more of a remark of the big. It seems like fair enough. God has a really hard job dealing with us. we're just a lot to handle.
We're very complex, very fragile. We're born without any teeth or claws, or we're not born like animals all ready to go. We have a lot to work out ourselves. It's like we're born without a manual and we have to figure it out ourselves. But what we are given as Jews is a code, almost like the secret code to everything, and that's the Torah. And as far as he can, Rabbi Bachia is trying very hard And I feel like he succeeds in laying out for her very simply and beautifully the meaning behind the Torah, the stories, the instructions, the commandments, the rules, and he gives us a basis of what's underlying it, the emunah that is underneath it all, and what we have to draw, the understandings that we have to draw from that underpin everything. So that's why I prefer to take it slowly, and each concept is quite a lot to digest. And so I prefer, especially late at night, to just sit with that and think about that we really have been given such a gift in our bodies. And so when we choose the correct foods to eat, and when we choose to go out for exercise, and when we choose to rest and to go to sleep on time, this is all part of God's will. He wants us to take care of our bodies. He doesn't want us to self-harm. And as much as we're given commandments not to kill another, not to harm another, our first and foremost duty is to ourselves and to our own body. And if we don't fill up our own cup and we don't self-care for our own body, how on earth we're going to take care of others? We cannot. So although ostensibly the chapter here is talking about death by suicide, actually it's talking about a lot more. It covers everything from here and all the way to the end. And the suicide is just the end point of where a person has gone astray, to the ends of it all. And what he's suggesting is that before it gets anywhere near that, we should always keep in mind that we have the tools to deal with whatever we're presented with. We have to have the faith that God is behind us, whatever decision that we make. If we trust in God, we'll make the right decision and he will be there to support us. But we don't have to worry. We shouldn't get swept away by anxiety, because that's where it can lead. And also to have compassion on those that have gone there, not to judge them or say that they've committed a sin, because once they're ill, they're ill. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay, I'm going to stop there.